Tonight, we look at more proofs of Q and has the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein recused himself from the Mueller investigation oversight? Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I start off every one of these episodes by saying thank you to every one of my subscribers. Without you guys, this channel just isn't possible, so thank you to each and every one of you who have come here and supported this channel. If you have not hit that subscribe button, the easiest and best way to support the channel is to come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you'll be notified, because as soon as information is made available to me, I make it available to you. Now, we're going to jump right into the latest Q post, as usual. So the first one is going forward from here where we left off. If you guys want to catch up to where we are, I definitely encourage you to go back and watch this last video. It covers a lot of the last few Q posts and the last few posts if you want to get it updated on where we are up till this point. So certainly go back and do that if you want to get that information. Now, jumping into the latest Q post. The first Q post we get is this picture, right? And the picture is here, and it's all the way back from November 9th of 2017, and it says from Air Force One is the name of the picture, and I would assume this means seat 5A, and we're going to figure out exactly why this is important in a second here, but this has been scouted out by ANONs who have actually outlined these islands as being right off the coast of Hong Kong. So if this was from November 9th, as it's proclaiming, what you need to know about that date is that that was when Trump was in the middle of his tour of Asia, as he met with Xi Jinping and China and other Asian leaders as a part of a U.S. diplomacy trip. And it's just interesting to note that if that was being posted back on November 9th, then this picture that he's posting now, which is a new picture, it would seem, would just go to give you more proof that Q was on Air Force One with Trump at the time they were making this trip. I mean, it's starting to really come together in a way that makes a lot of sense for those who have been following for a long time, and a lot of people who are new to this channel. You know, just stick around and follow the information for yourself, make your own decisions, and understand that what we're dealing with here is an insider inside the intelligence community, military intelligence probably, in association with the Trump administration, working to create a parallel construction outside of the national security classifications that is put together by us, we the patriots. You have to understand that the way this whole thing works is, and I'm not going to get too tangential here in my rant about this, but the way the whole thing works is that you guys come here, you get the information, and then we dissect the information, and then we draw our own conclusions and enter that into the public domain, ideas and thoughts and theories that have never been analyzed, and places where you can find proof or evidence that nobody's ever looked to find. And then that gets put into the public domain, and once it's in the public domain, then they can't claim national security when they're trying to convict some of these criminals who are going to be under indictment or have already been under indictment, under sealed indictment for quite some time. Now, what does all this have to do with anything? Obviously, you guys are probably like, oh, well, what's he even talking about? Well, it all goes to the next post, which is an Anon who posts here, and Q responds, but the Anon says, Air Force One pics from same set as November 2017 Q trip code equals proof that Q equals same Q as always. Direct SOT at Corsi and others. Now, that's what et al means. It means and others. But what is this? I think this is a typo where it's supposed to say direct shot at Corsi and others. But SOT is also a word that's used to describe somebody in a derogatory way. So taking that and then listening to what Q has to respond to that is very interesting. Q says, identity underscore reconfirmation, version 11.9 or v.11.9. I'm not sure what the V actually stands for. Sequence at attacks kill box around the S there. Anticipated, coordinated. Why are they continuing internal in the kill box? attacks will intensify. Killbox all sides. And killbox means brackets for those of you who don't know. And Q usually puts that in brackets to signify some importance. And then it's Q. So what does this mean? Well, this is talking about obviously what we just said on November 9th of 2017. Trump was basically touring Asia on I think it was a 12-day trip through Asia and meeting with Asian leaders. And this is a post from Air Force One down here that we've looked at that is reconfirmation. So this post here, right, is an older post from here. This one here is an older post from November 9th that Q took and told us was from Air Force One. And he's connecting it now with another photo that he has saying that he was on Air Force One during this trip, which means he's directly connected to everybody who's working in that capacity, it would seem. So that's what we're being told right here. So why is that important? Well, it's important because what we're being told is there's a lot of disinformation going on in the internet saying that Q's changed, that Q has been overtaken, that Q is some disinformation branch. I actually tend to believe that Q is more factual and truthful than most of the other people out there. And I only say that because Q has been proven right in a number of different ways. And those who are fighting against Q seem to have their own ulterior motives for doing it. I'm here just giving you the objective analysis of what Q is posting. And I think that from my perspective, in all the information I've seen, even the things that tend to confuse me, and I scratch my head and go, is Q really that, inept that he would make this kind of mistake? And then it turns out that Q is actually showing us something that we didn't even see to begin with. So for the most part, I tend to ignore most of those other people out there, the other voices who are getting louder and louder, such as Corsi and all the others, talking about how Q is disinformation. Because as far as I'm concerned, regardless of what Q is, whether it's Trump sitting around with a group of people doing this posting, or if it's an operation basically enacted by Trump, or if it's just a bunch of patriots who got together to work with maybe some inside intelligence officials to get this information out there, I can't tell you what it is. Okay? I don't believe it's a LARP. I think that's the furthest thing from the truth. And I really believe that these people are showing inside intelligence into what we're dealing with here, which would lead me to believe that the information that I'm getting is something that's valuable, and that the disinformation campaign against it only grows stronger through time. I mean, there are people out there who want to diss Q. They have books that they're trying to sell. They have networks they're trying to keep alive. They have lawsuits they're trying to wage and lawyers giving them advice about what they should or shouldn't do. And you guys probably know who I'm referencing if you follow this Q phenomenon very closely. But for those of you who don't, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that the information we're getting here is solid, and the information that we are receiving is something that we should take, and we should take it always with a grain of salt. We should always trust but verify. But we're going to take this information and we're going to put it out there. I put it out there. You guys take this content that we share here and put it out there, and then you take it from other people's contents and put it out there, and you create your own content and put it out there. That's the point. The point is not telling other patriots how to be patriots. We already know how to do that. So that's a little thing I wanted to say, because it goes right into the next post that we're going to cover. And I'm going to stay right here for a second and finish up on this post. But Q's saying there's a sequence, and the sequence of photos, I think, is what he's referring to. You see this one's Mark II and this one's Mark III. So that's my initial take on that, is that it's a sequence of photos. And then it says attacks anticipated. So we're going to be receiving, those of us who understand what Q is and what its primary function is, we will continue to basically take this information. We're not in a cult. We're not crazy. We're not just sycophantically following someone. For the most part, I would say 90 plus, 99% plus, we're here just getting information because information is valuable. Those who have the most power in this world understand that it's not about how many dollars you have in your bank account or how many precious metals you have or precious minerals or whatever. The most valuable commodity in this world is knowledge. And that in and of itself is what scares, I think, most of the elite cabal members who have developed their whole fortunes based off of consolidating knowledge and keeping it away from the public. So when you take that and then you put it against the fact that we're here actually being fed knowledge for free, that most people would have to have huge influence or a position of power or a high security clearance to get, then yes, it makes a lot of sense why we're being targeted, why people are trying to call us disinformation, why the whole movement is being demonized and put into the category of conspiracy theorists, which is a derogative, even though I don't believe that conspiracy theory even should be considered a derogatory term, but it's considered broadly in the mainstream culture as a derogatory term. But that's why we're labeled as such, because there is no other way to explain those who choose to think outside the box, those who choose to examine different narratives and make a decision on what is true and what is not, who don't just swallow and consume the mainstream media narrative that is fed to them through the propagandized media syndicates who have been co-opted by Operation Mockingbird, all of our intelligence agencies, to the point where it's okay to have some cooperation with the U.S. government as far as working with intelligence, trying to keep certain information classified, doing certain things to promote national security. But there comes a line that you end up crossing in that basically altruistic endeavor to secure the nation, where it becomes Orwellian, where it becomes dystopian, where it becomes a surveillance nanny state, where there is no freedom because everything is so surveilled and controlled that there is no opportunity for an advancement of thought. There's no opportunity for a debate. There's no opportunity for an open discussion. These things become taboo, and then they become demonized, and then they become reasons for gaslighting and other deplorable practices that those of sometimes lesser intelligence, sometimes just naive and ignorant, but those who are not informed end up, or those who are not open to, I would say more broadly, those who are not open to a dialogue and debate, those who are not actively prepared to defend their stances on certain issues. If you're not prepared to defend your position on a certain issue, then why are you even participating in the discussion in the first place? Because what's going to end up happening is that your defensive nature is going to overwhelm your ability to have logical, rational, critical thinking, and then you're going to end up demonizing and attacking those who are the ones trying to most bring a solid and truthful debate to the surface. Is it all right that the Trump campaign was spied on by the FBI at the behest of the Clinton campaign? No. Should there be equal application of the law when it comes to the Clinton Foundation receiving bribes with their special access program server in the coffee shop that was unsecured? Yes. These are simple questions that we can all answer together here. It doesn't take more than half of a brain cell to understand, and I don't mean that derogatorily toward people with a lower IQ. I'm just saying this is not about understanding what you're feeling. If you're feeling that Trump's a bad person, he made a bad comment about a woman, or you just don't like him in general, that has nothing to do with this. What has to do with everything is the criminality inside of our government. Trump's just a catalyst for revealing it. So understand that as we broach into these subjects deeper and deeper, the information is going to continually change. And as it changes, it's changing because there's an active war for information always. Knowledge is power, like I said at the beginning of this, and the elite want the power. So they're going to do everything they can to distort the knowledge that we're being given and to discredit it and to call it disinformation and then to label us as conspiracy theorists when and propagandists as when they are the ones who are basically the most guilty of that. So let me know what you think in the comments, because that's my basic breakdown of what I'm seeing on a daily basis, because I do this every day and it's fun. It's fun to the degree that I love engaging people. I love engaging thought. I love engaging ideas. I love engaging discourse and having debate. But it's there's a line that you have to draw where it's beyond debate. It becomes compulsory attacking, and it's there's no thought behind it. It's just a reaction to, oh well, you're wrong. Well, no. Now the attack comes. So what it's basically saying is that these attacks are coordinated and they're anticipated, and it's all going to be a compulsory reaction to the information that's being put out there. There's no thought behind it. There's no forethought. They literally are just responding. They're not putting out the actual information that would counter it. They're literally just putting out information that would confuse and disorient those who want to examine it further. Now, why are they continuing? Internal. I think he's talking about the internal fighting that we're seeing here with people like Corsi and others inside of basically the world of information, which would be considered not non-mainstream. So the alt media information stream, I guess you would call it, however you want to categorize or phrase that the infighting there is really just based on the fact that they're all fighting for the same basically dominance in reporting information that is classified or secret or breaking, whatever you want to call it. And what Q points out, as he has in the last few posts, is that all the attacks will intensify from all sides. It's not going to be just the people and from Corsi. It's not going to be just from the people at InfoWars and other people who have called out Q. It's not going to just be from CNN. It's going to be from MSNBC. It's going to be from everywhere you can imagine. Even Fox, I can imagine, be coming out and saying that Q is a conspiracy theory. I wouldn't put it past them for a second, only because there are people that work there that just are not on the up and up, in my opinion. If you ever watch one episode of The Five, just listen to Juan Williams. It's pretty pathetic. So with that, we'll jump right into the next post. The next post is Q posting. It says, "Unity, not division." Last post. And then he gives a link to this Fox article about the FBI and DOJ to brief lawmakers on handling of Russia probe. And that's on Thursday, so in a couple days from now. And he says, who is missing the scheduled meeting? Rod Rosenstein. Who is Ed O'Callahan? And then he says, quote unquote, acting Ed. Declassified, Payne, enjoy the show, Q. So we have a lot of information to digest here. Let's first understand what this is meant. The first part of this is talking about unity, not division, in last post. So he's talking about the last post here, and he's saying, don't go out and start attacking people like Corsi and those who are just trying to bring the truth. Even if they want to try to discredit Q, we're not here to attack people who are at least trying to expose what evil is going on behind the scenes. Now, they all may have their own ulterior motives for what they're doing, but you can be careful about who you follow, but then I'd like to think everybody has a discerning filter, a critical thinking filter for themselves, where you can listen to information from people you disagree with and decide whether or not you agree with it. Or listen to people that you may disagree with and then decide whether or not you disagree with it. So I think that's what Q's trying to say. And that the whole point of this last post was to basically verify that his identity is being reconfirmed with these photos from that day when he was on Air Force One, or they were on Air Force One, and giving us more information about what's upcoming, right? That's the way I read it. If you guys have different thought, please leave it in the comments. Now, the next post is really important. It says, The FBI and the DOJ is to brief lawmakers on the handling of the Russia probe on Thursday. Now, what I thought was really interesting is that the Thursday meeting will include FBI Director Wray, along with House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, House Oversight Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy, Director of Intelligence Dan Coates, and remember that, Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General Ed O'Callaghan. Why is Ed O'Callaghan the one going to this and not Rod Rosenstein? I think the answer is being told to us by Q here. Rod Rosenstein has been removed. He's been forced to recuse himself. The information is coming out. This is what is going to happen today. This may be because today now is the 23rd, depending on where you are. And Q said minus 23, gave us the hints about 23. It could still be June 11th. We're not sure. But 23 could also, May 23rd, play a very important role here. And why would that play a very important role? Think about all of the things together and what's going on here. Okay, so if Rod Rosenstein has recused himself, according to this post from Q here, a man named Jesse Panuccio, who was the Associate Attorney General and her principal deputy to Rachel Brand, well, now what it seems to be is that according to the actual executive order that Trump put out, where he rewords what he does is he takes an executive order put out by Obama right before the end of his term, and he reorders the order of succession at the Department of Justice. Now he leaves the top order of succession the same, and the top order of succession, according to U.S. 28 USC 28 USC 508, which is a part of the U.S. Code here, it says that order of succession, subject to provisions of Section 2 of this order, the following officers in the order listed shall act as and perform the functions and duties of the Attorney General during any period which the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, the Associate Attorney General, and any other officers designated by the Attorney General pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 508 to act as Attorney General have died, resigned, or otherwise become unable to perform the functions and duties. This is a very important statement right here. It's basically saying that it doesn't just come down to the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, and the Associate Attorney General. It actually comes down to people who could have been appointed by the Attorney General to act as principal associates of the Attorney General, right? And what am I talking about here? You guys are probably like, wow, this is getting a little out there. No, well, we'll try to draw it all back in here. It's saying, who is Ed O'Callaghan? Well, that's a very good question. Who is Ed O'Callaghan? Well, this from April 3rd, 2018, Rod Rosenstein announced Edward O'Callaghan was the acting principal associate deputy attorney general. So this is after Rachel Brand's dismissal and after Panuccio has been in office, and now basically his tenure is up today or tomorrow if you count it from a certain time going through till today. It could be that the 210 days under his tenure have been up, according to some people, but then on other people's radars, it actually is that Panuccio has been let go, and in this act here, he was replaced by Ed O'Callaghan. But who is Ed O'Callaghan? Well, Ed O'Callaghan is somebody we really need to monitor. He is closely tied with the co-chief. He was closely tied with the Southern District of New York and the U.S. Attorney's Office there, which we all know was basically infiltrated by Schneiderman and other Democrat liberal plans from the globalists. And he was one of the main players over there. And now he has been appointed by Rosenstein as of April 3rd to act as the principal associate deputy attorney general. So now he is the one who's going to be brought in. But what Q was, I think, trying to tell us in this last post here was to look at the position of the associate attorney general And now we're seeing who it actually is, right? Because this is an older article, and he's asking us to look at who is acting. I had interpreted that earlier to mean that he was saying that Jesse Panuccio was acting or being an actor, but no, I think what he was pointing us to was the fact that who is the acting attorney general as of now, and we see that that is Ed O'Callaghan. So now he is the acting attorney general. He can be removed, and in the case that Rod Rosenstein has been basically pushed or forcibly put in a position to recuse himself from this Russia investigation oversight, we actually have Q putting Ed inside the kill box saying he's going to be removed. So if that is the case, then he can be replaced by a number of different people, but it would seem one of the first ones in line would be a person by the name of Noel Francisco. And how do I come to that? Well, if you look at like a down chart of how the power works at the Department of Justice, it goes Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, Associate Attorney General, and then Solicitor General. So who is Noel Francisco? Well, he was appointed by Trump, so he's definitely one of the Trump guys. He was put in there by Trump. Definitely a trustworthy guy if Trump put him in there, hopefully. And we'll have to wait and see how he all weighs out. I haven't done enough research on him personally, but I know that that's where the chain would end with him. So you imagine if we remove Ed O'Callaghan and then we implant Noel Francisco, then we're moving in the right direction without having to go to Congress to get the actual approval for these nominees. Right? When that makes sense, because they're dragging their feet on approving the nominees from Trump. And then this all ties back to this article, because what it's telling us is that the meeting that they're going to be involved in, they did not ask Rod Rosenstein to be at. So that means Ed O'Callaghan has been probably put in that position of being the acting oversight to the Mueller investigation and the acting attorney general, as Rosenstein has had to recuse himself. Wouldn't that be interesting, right? You guys let me know what you think in the comments of that, but I think that's how I take it as being said. And I think the declass here is basically Q saying maybe this is declassified information that we're being given. I don't know, that it's just been declassified and we're just getting it first. But he's saying, Payne, enjoy the show, Q. So we're going to see, in my opinion, what this is reading as is we're going to see Ed O'Callaghan fired. We're already seeing that Panuccio was basically removed from his power by Rosenstein a while ago, and Q was pointing us to look at who is the acting, because Q doesn't tell us these things right off the bat. He can't just spell it out for us. He has to make us work to find information. So I think this is exactly what we were supposed to do, and we've come to the right conclusion here. But if you guys have a different view or take on what we've just covered, please leave it down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and theories about all of this. But you can definitely come check out these articles if you want in the executive order. They're all very easy to find online if you just do a few quick, simple searches. Now, if you're looking for a way to support me on Twitter, that's a great thing. Please come over here to @Justin_Informed. That's @Justin_Informed. Just check out my Twitter page, because I want to draw a light, and I want you to help me shine a light. This is something I want to plug, kind of frequently as I go through here. Don't forget to go check out vetsforchildrescue.org, and you can make a donation to them. And what this is a bunch of really patriotic veterans who are going out and helping kids who are in the most desperate and severe situations. They're actually working very hard to shine a light on the evil that is killing and hurting children across this country when it comes to sex trafficking and child abuse. So please, just go over here, and you don't have to donate. Just go check out the site. You can support them. You can come retweet this. I try to retweet this every few days or so, because I'm not going to stop shining a light on it. I really want people to understand that there are victims and that we have to try to support those victims. And that's more important than even getting this information out, because, well, they're both equally important, I guess, because they both work to promote the other. But without you guys going to vetsforchildrescue.org, I don't know, it couldn't work. So go over there and check that out. And also, if you want, you can come check me out on Justin Form Talk at Justin_Form on Twitter. But that's going to be it for this episode. So I want to say, if you're looking for a way to support the channel, the best way to do it is to come over here and come to this landing page. If you have not hit that subscribe button yet, it's really easy and quick. It's basically, it helps me out a lot, and it's like giving me a buck. Come click that button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you'll be notified when these videos get posted. Another great way to contribute to the channel, one of my favorites, is scroll down at the end of this video and leave your thoughts, theories, and insights in the comment board. Because like I say, we try to have our own QAnon research board at the end of each one of these videos where we discuss the latest Q posts, what they could mean, and different theories on what we're basically getting here. So if you guys want to go there and share your information, share your theories, thoughts, and your insights, that would be really great. Thank you so much for everyone who's going to do that. And even if you can't contribute in the comments, scroll down and read through the comments. You're going to learn something I guarantee you didn't know before you started this episode. And if you're looking for a way to contribute financially, I really would appreciate it. I need all the help I can get to keep this channel going, all the 24/7 for you guys, so I can keep this information flowing to you. I don't take any days off, and I appreciate all the donations I can get to keep this channel running. But come over here to Patreon. That's patreon.com. You can search Justin Form Talk. Go ahead and come to this landing page. Click this button to become a patron. Come check out my rewards and goals. I certainly appreciate all the thoughtful the thoughtful donations and the amazing contributions you guys have already made. But please help me continue to keep this channel running by coming over here and just giving a donation, whatever you can, $1. It helps out big time, and I really certainly appreciate it. So thank you all in advance for doing that. Now, before we go, we're going to talk about the most important thing, and that's God. And why is God the most important thing, you would ask? Well, quite simply put, God is the most important thing because every day we have to remember that no matter what's going on in the world around us, we have God's glory and we have our own dignity, and we have to find a way to make those work always in a healthy and productive symbiosis. And by putting God first, which is the right thing to do, we put ourselves on the path to success. We put ourselves on the path to good. We put ourselves on the path to righteousness. And we continually push ourselves to abide in God, which is the most important thing. So Psalm 8 talks about this, and I think it's a really important psalm to mention to those out there. And it says, "Lord, our Lord, how magnificent is your name throughout the earth. You have covered the heavens with your majesty. Because of your adversaries, you have established a stronghold from the mouths of children and nursing infants to silence the enemy and the avenger. When I observe your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you set in place, what is man that you remember him? The Son of Man that you look after him. You made him little less than God and crowned him with glory and honor. You made him Lord over the works of your hands. You put everything under his feet, all the sheep and oxen, as well as the animals in the wild, birds of the sky and fish of the sea, passing through the currents of the seas. Lord, our Lord, how magnificent is your name throughout the earth." How wonderful is that? God has given us everything. God has given us all of these amazing gifts. God has presented us with this ability to be the masters of our own domain, as long as we understand that he is the creator of that domain, and that our worship of him is just praise for and gratitude and thanks for the amazing blessings that he's given us. And that the more we praise him and put his name on high, the more blessings that we will be given. I wish sometimes I could just tell people in a plainer way that if you believe in God, you will be blessed. And even if people hear that, they may not understand what it means to be blessed. God has so many different ways that he can provide you his blessings. And a lot of it has to do with his love, and a lot of it has to do with his salvation. But more importantly, it has to do with your internal soul, your eternal soul. And your life that you have here on earth is just a blip. But your eternal soul that lives on through the cosmos and into God and into heaven and into the next world, that's what we have to focus on saving here, because our bodies are mortal. They're they're going to die. It's just a matter of time. It's not if, but when. But what is not going to die is our soul. And what is not going to die is God. And what's not going to die is God's love and Jesus' sacrifice for us. These things will live on. So in order to really put everything into perspective, just always remember that the battle that we fight between good and evil is not just set here on earth. It is an eternal battle that's been going on for quite some time. And remember that even Jesus would sit down with sinners because he wanted to show them the way of God because they did not know. And we too, as both patriots and first and foremost Christians, we have to have that ability. We can't just do what those we admonish do. We can't become the people that we see as being evil in blanketly saying that everyone has to be evil, and even if they are evil, that they have no chance at redemption, because God wants us to leave room for those out there who can be redeemed. So just remember that. I'm not saying that the evil doesn't exist and that there are those who are going to be judged by God. That's their prerogative. Our job as Christians is to fight for God in the way that he wants us to fight for him. So you guys think about that and figure out what that means to you. But I just hope that if you don't take anything else away from this episode, you'll remember that God absolutely loves you, and that no matter what you go through in this world, that God's glory should come first, and that each one of us should live a life of dignity and integrity in the Lord. So please don't forget that. Again, if you have not hit that subscribe button, now is a great time. Come here to this landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications, that way you'll be notified when these videos get posted. Make sure you comment at the end of this video. That'd be great too. But thank you again for watching. This has been Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.